Andy, was that good news?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Better than the alternative.
Yes, it is.
Well, maybe.
It's really, really good.
Happy
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes.
Ooh, that cold here quick.
See, this is what happens.
Yeah.
This is what happens. I'm hot. I'm cold. Okay.
I feel wonderful about life.
Yes. Good. That's the good news too.
So do I can
All right,
sleep
wait,
in now.
wait. Now you made me forget the good news that I had.
What good news? Can't be that good if
I
you forget.
You know, I did have some. It's the music. The music is so good. Now, you said you like James Lee Stanley?
Well, I just remember hearing him at the Charlotte's Web.
Yes.
When the Charlotte's Web.
Yes.
John Prine, him, and all those others that just kind of like ring a bell.
Well, there is some. Shannon booked it. There is some interest in it. I hope it turns out well. But listen, next Sunday. Next Sunday, Mother's Day, 7:30. We're going to have a Mother's Day concert like you've never heard before. Mars Williams, yes, Mars Williams on saxophones and toys. Wow. He's got a whole table full of toys. It's fantastic, and a Norwegian drummer who we can't use his name because, well, he's trying to stay under the radar on the visa thing. He's here on a visitor's visa, not a work visa, so we can't advertise him. But it's gonna be good. Nothing else?
All my spring crops
Or-
came off.
Yes. Hey,
Spinach,
listen.
kale, and collards and
I thought we were in big trouble after that weird stretch we had where it snowed on top of the little green budlings, but the Japanese maple, I thought for sure was dead this time, and it's turning green. So, yep. All right. It's right outside. Right outside. It's in that little. It's protected from the north wind, so it doesn't get too bad of a winter.
When we move buildings, are we moving it?
Oh, I think we need to let the new owners enjoy it.
Okay.
What if they just take it out and throw it away?
yeah.
There's some question about the sculptures. Anyway, prayer requests. Okay, putting Ron on here. We're going to pray for more people to remember it's Sunday. All right?
Yes.
How about Frank, my father?
Frank! And you know, the way we do this, I say it probably too much, but we don't think of these people's names and then think of their infirmity. We think of them and we see them totally free of any limitation whatsoever. That's how we do the prayer, right? Hey, Equanimous is still on here. Did the Bears draft him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So read the letter.
Double up on him.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think he's going to be, just with a name like that, it's got to be great.
That's not the guy.
He came, I think he's out of Notre Dame.
Oh no,
I
no,
don't
no,
think
no.
so.
But it's another kind of a different name.
All
Right,
right.
he doesn't get traded.
All right. Here we go, round the bend. I always do this. I'm sorry. Well, we're going to do a meditation. I just don't know which one. Don't worry about it. I'll get through it. You'll get through it. Just get quiet for a minute. Just get quiet right where you're at. You may want to close your eyes and just allow the seat to fully support your weight. You want to put your feet flat on the floor and just relax. Focusing on the breath, relax the body. Just allow any tension to move out and away. Ease your mind by releasing any worries or concerns. Set the spirit free by letting go of any grievances. Say to yourself, I am in process. I am in process. There's something happening here. Something happening in your perception. Previously, left to the ego's instructions and the body's biological imperatives, we have perceived risk. Today we change our view. We view ourselves as spirit, and in spirit we are safe. Whereas we had thought we were alone and seemingly under threat, sure that the whole world was against us, we now see differently. We're involved in a process that moves us from total self-centeredness, from total isolation, into God-centered harmony. We're in a process of harmonizing with life. The body's defenses notwithstanding, we can open ourselves to the oneness that is our true inheritance. And this does not mean that we carelessly put ourselves in harm's way, but just that we cultivate a sense of belonging, inclusion in the vast web of life. We are in a process, which is a progression that leads us from the intellectual acceptance of love to the deep knowing that we are love. Do we say amen? Amen. restored. Being restored. Wasn't that, I was thinking about the second step, I believe, when I wrote this talk for today. But what we do every 6 months, no matter what, right? It says restoration. There's restoration means to bring back to original condition. Now, some of us may say, oh, I was never in that good a condition. But the original condition that I'm going to talk about this morning might not necessarily be like we might be thinking, before my eating got totally out of control, I was in a state where it was pretty good. Or before the drugs got crazy, things are okay. Then maybe that's what we're talking about, is being restored back to that state of mind. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being restored back to the original condition. Mint condition, so to speak. When we were minted, when they press out the coins, right? They're minting the coins. Well, we were minted by Spirit. We were minted by God. So the restoration that I'm talking about is this bringing us back to the original condition that God made us in. And we got some hints. The Bible said, let us make them after our own image, male and female. This is of course the second creation of men story. The first, the actually written before the rib story. So we're going to be returned back to this original condition, which is the image and likeness of God. And we go, well, what the heck is that then? What's that look like? We're going to be put back to the original likeness of God, old guy, white beard, flowing locks, sitting on a throne in a cloud in the sky. I don't think that's what that meant. So when we return back, we're going to be restored back to the image and likeness of God. And it says in Genesis, it said, and God was a spirit moving upon the waters. So there we go. We can start with that reference right there. So we can be restored back to that spirit. Or in John, it said, God is love. Could we be restored back to being love? So this is what I like to think about when I read that second step, that we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. I like to think that sanity that's describing is not just the sanity of not doing crazy things. I mean, and who's to say what's crazy, right? That opens up a whole other can of worms. We try to figure that out. So, but the idea of sanity as being health and wholeness of mind, the health and wholeness of mind. I like to think health and wholeness of mind and body. And to think about the body as just being, as the Course in Miracles tells us, the body's just neutral. Body's neutral, it'll do what the mind tells it. So what are you telling it to do, right? The Course says you're not a body, but don't be mean to your body. So we want to have this right now, whether or not we're a body, we are certainly experiencing a body. It's an experience we're having right now. So this restoration, I like to think about this restoration as if I get my mind in order, surely my body will follow. I think someone once said a different phrase that had something to do with that. But they said it the other way around. And your mind will follow. Anyway, so to be restored, to be brought back. And so I go, well, wait a minute. I don't ever remember. There's no memory of ever having been in this, what I would call a perfect state of peace. To me, this restoration would mean, this real restoration to sanity would mean total peace of mind. It would mean experiencing love in that truest sense of feeling connected to life and having only desire for good to come to all life. So though I'm just saying that if I'm thinking back in my previous life, I don't remember a time back when that I had that kind of feeling. I always think I felt under threat isolated from, not quite fitting in to the way things were going. So, but then now, on this process that we're talking about, in the meditation, during this process, there have been moments. There have been moments where I have felt that total peace. There have been moments, what the Course calls them holy instants. Or you get a holy instant. In the holy instant, you are present. You are absolutely present. And you know it's revelation descends upon us. And we know absolutely that everything is okay. And there is no worry, there is no anxiety, there is no upset, there is just a knowing that we are connected to all of our brothers and sisters. It's all okay, and why were we worried about anything anyway? And that this almost overwhelming sense of love, of being connected, and the desire, the idea that what we want to do is extend ourselves and extend goodwill to everyone around us. Now, unfortunately for me at least, those moments don't last as long as I'd like. But that's the whole idea of practice. We are practicing. We are in a process. We are moving from one perspective to another. We are moving down this path of perception to the place where, well, what I've been told is there's a bridge, that there's this bridge, and that it's a bridge back to heaven. Heaven, again, not being the kingdom of the clouds, but the kingdom of oneness. That there's a bridge back to the kingdom of heaven. And if I can get my perception to the point where I see myself at the foot of the bridge, God will take the last step. God will take the final step. Cross the bridge. Gather me up. Every time I get close to the bridge, I think, wait, I got this one more thing to do tomorrow. Ken Wapnick always told the story about this, a story of Sisyphus. And this is this example of insanity, both conscious insanity and unconscious insanity. That what the deal with Sisyphus is he hatched a plan. He felt like his body was wearing out and he was going to die here pretty soon. And so he told his wife, he said, if I should die, don't put the coins on my eyes when I die. And that way, the ferryman that takes us over to the underworld, the land of the dead, the ferryman will not be able to take me over because I don't have the fare, right? Yeah, it's a good idea, right? So that's what happens. He dies. She doesn't put the coins on his eyes. When they go to take him to the underworld, the ferryman said, hey, come on. Where's the fare? You got to pay me to take you over there. And he says, oh, we forgot. I know, it's silly, right? It's silly, but it's great. So then they take him to, the ferryman takes him to the queen of the underworld, Persephone, I believe it is. Anyway, he says to her, I forgot the coins. Just let me go back. Just let me go back. You let me go back. I'll get the coins, and I'll meet you back on the bank here with the coins. Everything's okay. So she says, okay, fine. Send you back. So she sends him back. He's alive again. And he decides he's not going to live, he already knew. He wasn't going to live up to the bargain. He's back. So one way or another, by hook or by crook, finally the gods get upset because he has tricked them. And they figure out a way to get him back. I mean, they kill him. So then he's going back across and he said, well, now you have to be punished. Now there's a punishment for this. And the punishment is that every day you are going to, well, you see that boulder right there, that big boulder. What you are going to do is you're going to roll that boulder up to the top of the mountain every day. And when you get to the top, the boulder is going to roll back down. Some versions say it rolls over you. The boulder is going to roll back down. And you are going to start again the next day, only you will have forgotten the day before. So you are sentenced to an eternity of pushing the boulder to the top of the mountain, and then it's going to just roll back down. You're going to do it over again. Ken says, or said, that this is the analogy of what we are doing every day in our life. That we are pushing the same boulder up to the top of the mountain and it's rolling back down, and we are forgetting that we ever pushed it up there before. That we continue to do the same, well, this is what we have heard before. We repeat the same mistakes over and over again, expecting different results. Sometimes consciously, sometimes not. Right? Sometimes we think we've mixed it up. Sometimes we think that we've seized on a new plan. But it turns out that new plan is laid in the exact pattern of the old plan. So a restoration to sanity would mean that we would come awake. That we would wake up to this dilemma. And that we would start doing things differently. And it's so interesting. It doesn't mean some big, huge change in our life. It means just a slight change. But the slight change makes all the difference, and the slight change is our motivation. That the restoration to sanity is when we stop making decisions for ourselves alone, because we're not. The restoration to sanity is when we stop making decisions by ourselves alone, because we're not. So when I say for ourselves and by ourselves, I mean stop making decisions in the ego, and stop making decisions for what the ego wants. This is the difference. So we're going to do the same thing that we did. We're going to wake up in the morning, and then whatever our meditation or prayer is in the morning, I'm sure all of us being spiritual students, we're doing that. We would get that motivation in mind right off the bat. We would say, I'm centering myself right now in the common welfare, knowing that I'm included in the common welfare, so I can do that. And I'm going to do my prayer with the idea that I'm connected to all life. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to get up, and I'm going to don't ever do. I stopped doing this. Don't turn the news on first thing in the morning. Just don't do it. But if you do, start watching it with a different eye. Start watching it in a different way. So when you see the thing that offends you, when you see the thing on the news that irritates you, when you see the thing that really enrages you, instead of ranting and raving at the screen, which we talked about last week, which somebody told me I was doing it. I didn't really realize. But instead of doing that, see the situation, whatever it is, healed. See every single person in the situation healed. If you see somebody on there who's a bad actor, I mean not in a role, well maybe, but somebody who is causing harm and suffering to others, don't see revenge on them. See them healed of whatever it was that's motivating them to cause harm. So this is a new practice then. We could still just really, I was getting so good at it until 445 days ago. I was getting really good at being able to do that with the news. And then everything went to crazy. Anyway, so then we get up and we go to our work, right? We go to our work just like we did the day before. But the only thing different is our attention is on being of service. Our attention has changed from just going in and punching the clock or getting there for our first appointment or whatever. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and they're going to give us some money. We're going to change our motivation. We're just going to say, I'm going to work. I'm going to do everything I can to be of service. The service may be in the work, or the service may actually happen because while you're at work, somebody comes in front of you and you're able to be of service to them. The service, hopefully it's going to be in both. But then the same outcome is going to happen. I mean, the material outcome is going to happen. They're still going to pay you. This is a good thing. They're still going to pay you. But you're also going to receive the benefit of giving freely of what we are. which is what we're trying to be restored to, this whole idea. If we are spirit, if we are love, as if we're trying to identify what are we at our core, if this is truly who we are, and we get in the practice of giving that to life, surely it will become fixed in our minds that that's who we are, that is who we are. And this is what we do. We are love, and we love. And it makes it makes everything so, you know, we go to lunch with some people. And at lunch, we look for a way to be of service to the server. It just starts to expand out. It just starts to expand out, and where our mind is stayed on being of service. This is really, Jesus was talking about, if your mind be single, if your mind be single, your whole body will be full of light. So we've had this single-minded focus on extending love out into the world. In whatever it is that we do, our body will be full of light. So we have all these potentials within us. In the material world and in the body, we have these potentials. We each have little fragments of talents and abilities. And our job in the material world is to bring all those potentials to life, to be helpful to the rest. And so, you know, this is our job, so to speak. Our purpose is to bring all of those talents to bear in that focused way. To bring whatever gifts we have to the world in the hopes of healing the world. If we bring it in a way that is loving and caring, with compassion and understanding, we will. And this peace of mind, the more we do this, the more peace of mind grows in us. The more we focus on oneness, we get this true peace, a trust, and an understanding that we really are a part of all good, and that indeed we ourselves are that good. Good is in us. God is in us. That is this ultimate potential. We've ignored it. This is what's happened. We've ignored it. But the power and the presence of this potential is with us always. It's always there. We can access it anytime because it's part of our original condition. It's in there somewhere. And we can find it. It can never be taken away. Nobody can steal it from us. We can't make it go away. It's there. In quiet times, we may confess our concerns and then release them to the universe for a divine solution that will come from our own potential. We can feel this faith uplifting us. Our prayers become gentle reminders that we are connected to the infinite. And this remembrance, this memory, there's a memory in us. It's very far back there. There is this memory of a different place and a different time. We remember that we are one with peace, love, and wellness. The fact is that operating out of this service, operating out of this original condition, our original state of mind, we're up to any challenge because we all have the potential at our disposal. We have connection to creation which energizes us, which strengthens, which guides and supports us in all that we do. So we're in a process. We're in a process. We're changing our perception. We're moving in our minds. This is what's happening. We're moving in our minds. And sometimes we are having some kind of a physical, we're on a pilgrimage from one place to another, the grocery store, something. But in our minds, we're in this process. We're on this spiritual path in our minds. And in all of our travels, wherever it may be, we attempt to practice what we're learning. But we're in this process of changing our perception. We're changing our perception from this sense of aloneness, of fragmentation, which is the very root of insaneness, means broken, fragmented. We are moving our perception from that place to the perception of oneness. We are moving in our minds from the place where we have been to the foot of the bridge, to heaven, where God will take the final step. That's enough. You get to talk back now.